Johan is a sports coach working at a private school, and he runs his own IT company on the side. As such, he is quite a busy guy, and he was referred to me by his psychologist because she was not achieving the therapeutic results that she was looking for. She'd been working with Johan for more than a year, trying to help him gain control of symptoms of anxiety. In the past, Johan had been employed in the military, and as such, he had been exposed to some really traumatizing, life-threatening situations. And he was suffering with typical symptoms of post-traumatic stress syndrome, high levels of anxiety, difficulty with concentration, difficulty making even small basic decisions, struggling to sleep, suffering with flashbacks. He had withdrawn from social interactions because he found it difficult to communicate with people on a superficial level. And he was finding it really hard to cope with his two jobs, his role as a sports coach trying to motivate young people, and obviously the stresses that were related to his own business. So the psychologist sent him to see me in the hope that I could help him, either through medications or through some other medical intervention to improve his symptoms and allow him to gain control over his life again. Now, in my interaction with Johan, I asked him whether he'd be interested in trying a course of medication. And he said that he would prefer to take the natural route because he had in fact had a history of addiction in the past. And he was scared that he would again become hooked on a substance and rely on that substance to make him feel normal. And he didn't want to face that as another demon in his life. So we decided to try a 3-month course of lifestyle medicine interventions for improving his mental health and psychological well-being. The first thing that I asked Johan to do was to keep what we call a gratitude journal. Now this is physically to write down at least one thing every day that he felt grateful for, something deep and meaningful that he was glad that was going on in his life. And at the end of each day, I asked him to record 3 good things that had happened to him during the course of that day. Gratitude is an extremely powerful emotion. It helps us to focus on the positive things that are happening in our life. And people who experience gratitude regularly tend to live longer. And we know that gratitude helps to release endorphins and the happiness neurotransmitters in your nervous system that allow you to enjoy life to the full, feeling happier, enjoying a better mood, and generally having a more positive outlook on life. So this was the first tool that we used in Johan's strategy, was to keep a gratitude journal. The second thing that I asked Johan to do was to focus on his diet. If you eat the foods that contain the raw materials for the production of the neurotransmitters responsible for happiness and calm, like serotonin and GABA, then your nervous system will naturally produce more of those neurotransmitters. So I encouraged Johan to eat foods that are known to improve mood and to promote calmness and to help with sleep and to give him more positive mental energy. The first thing that I encouraged him to eat more of is dark chocolate. Now, many people are surprised when they hear that dark chocolate is actually a superfood. It contains plenty of healthy fats that are excellent for your brain and nervous system. The lining of your neurons is made of omega-3 fatty acids, and so providing more of those healthful fats helps to keep your brain in good working condition. Also, dark chocolate contains flavonoids that are actually active chemical messengers. They bind onto the same chemical receptors in the brain as cannabinoids, which means that they make you feel happy and calm. It's like that euphoric feeling that you get after you've eaten a delicious piece of chocolate. And in fact, eating more chocolate allows you to feel that happiness and that calmness during the course of your day. The amount of sugar that is in dark chocolate is balanced by the healthy fats, as long as the chocolate that you choose has got more than 70% cocoa solids. Next, bananas. These delicious tropical fruits contain a whacking amount of vitamin B6, which is essential for the production of serotonin, the neurotransmitter of calm and happiness. B6 is also important for the production of dopamine, which gives you energy and drive and motivation. That is the neurotransmitter of reward. Besides that, bananas contain a fantastic fiber that feeds the microbiome or the healthy gut bacteria that also help to produce good neurotransmitters. So while bananas contain quite a lot of sugar, the fiber that's contained in the bananas balances that out. Then, berries. Berries contain phenomenal health-boosting chemicals. They are full of fiber, good for the gut. They are packed with antioxidants, which fight inflammation and help to delay aging. They are also full of vitamins and minerals that promote the healthy functioning of the nervous system. Berries tend to be low in sugar relative to other fruits, and so the beneficial nutrients that you get in berries on balance are significantly more concentrated. Berries are fantastic for promoting good circulation and anti-inflammatory activities not only in your brain but throughout your body. The deeper the color and the more intense the flavor of the berries, the more powerful the chemicals that they contain. If fresh berries are not available in your area or they are out of season, you can use frozen berries, and they contain the same powerful nutrients for your brain and for the rest of your body. Next, fatty fish. Salmon, mackerel, herring, sardines, tuna, any fish that is high in omega-3 fatty acids is phenomenally good for your nervous system. Your brain is more than 70% fat, and so you need fat in order for your brain to function optimally. And the types of fat that you find in fatty fish are particularly good for your nervous system. Fish also contains proteins that are essential for the production of good neurotransmitters. I encouraged Johan to eat at least 3 servings of fatty fish per week in order to support the production of healthy neurotransmitters that would help him from the inside to reduce his symptoms of anxiety. Then, lentils, beans, and pulses. These are fantastic sources of prebiotic fiber, the type of fiber that your gut microbiome thrives on. The bacteria in your gut are actually responsible for producing a huge proportion of serotonin, the happiness neurotransmitter. So if you feed your gut bacteria with the nutrients that they love, they will produce those neurotransmitters in abundance. There is a very close connection between your central nervous system and the nervous system that's in your gut. And so if you can get your gut in good balance, that has a positive knock-on effect on your brain and your central nervous system functioning. Now, one of my absolute favorite brain supporting foods, avocado. These creamy, delicious fruits contain truckloads of omega-3 fatty acids and are packed with beautiful fiber that supports the microbiome. And besides that, they are super versatile. You can add avocado to salads, you can put it on your sandwich, you can put it on your pizza, you can even make a most delicious ice cream or mousse as a dessert with avocado. Besides the healthy fats and the fiber, avos also contain 5-HTP or tryptophan, and this is the substrate or the raw material molecule that your nerve cell uses in order to produce serotonin. So you are directly feeding your nerve cell with the raw material it needs to make more serotonin. And that's probably why eating avocados makes us feel so happy. Then, nuts and seeds. Nuts of any description. Almonds, walnuts, Brazil nuts, cashew nuts, they all contain fantastic healthy fats. They also contain plenty of protein and they contain lots of beneficial fiber. Besides that, nuts also contain the minerals, zinc, magnesium, selenium, that help to produce neurotransmitters and to keep your nervous system working in a good balance. Although nuts and seeds are high in calories, we've seen that people who eat more of these beneficial foods tend to have better control of their weight in the long term and actually live longer. So I encourage you, add a few nuts or seeds onto your salad. Add a few nuts or seeds into your muesli or cereal in the morning. Snack on nuts and seeds as a trail mix. Try and include them more in your daily routine and your health will thank you. And lastly, fermented foods and drinks. Any food or liquid that undergoes a fermentation process changes its nature because of bacteria that grow within that substance. So take cheese, for example. This is made from milk that has bacteria and fungi added to it that ferment the sugars in that cheese and turn it into the delicious, creamy, salty, savory product that we get at the end. Now, those bacteria that do the fermentation process are very beneficial and healthy bacteria. And if you introduce them into your digestive system, they help to balance the good microbiome that has a direct beneficial impact on your gut health and the health of your central nervous system. So, cheese, yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, any of the fermented products are fantastic to include in your diet if you are looking to improve your mental health through food. So this was the second strategy that I asked Johan to implement in his life, was to include more of the good mood foods that promote the health of his central nervous system and a good balance of neurotransmitters through providing the raw materials that his nerve system needed in order to make more serotonin, dopamine, GABA, all the neurotransmitters responsible for calm and happiness and good sleep and energy and motivation. Then, we discussed routine, and specifically we spoke about sleep hygiene. Now, part of anxiety is often that people have difficulty sleeping. And in Johan's case, he struggled with falling asleep, but he also had difficulty staying asleep. He would wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, perhaps experience a panic attack or a flashback or a bad dream, and then he would struggle to get back to sleep again. And so we discussed strategies that he could employ to not only fall asleep easier at night, but also that would encourage his nervous system to remain in a calm state so that he could sleep longer through the night. First of all, we said you must keep a good routine. Wake up in the morning at plus or minus the same time and go to bed at plus or minus the same time every night. And do that even if it's the weekend, so that your nervous system and your brain remains in a normal, regular rhythm. Secondly, to keep your bedroom as a calm sanctuary, dark, cool, comfortable, so that your brain learns that this is a safe environment in which to fall asleep. Also, to avoid screens before bedtime. I said to Johan that he needs to switch off any of his screens at least an hour and a half before going to bed, so that his brain could be in a calmer state. Rather do calming activities like reading a book, journaling, meditating, instead of scrolling or watching TV. And also, we agreed that he would avoid any stimulants, particularly caffeine. He was quite a heavy coffee drinker, and we agreed that he would have 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and that would be it for the day, in order for him not to have nervous system stimulation from the caffeine, particularly towards bedtime. So that was the third intervention that I proposed to Johan, was to follow good sleep hygiene so that he could enjoy more restorative and longer sleep. The next strategy that we agreed Johan would try is breath work. Now, breath work is a particularly powerful and practical way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. There are 2 branches of the nervous system. The one is the activating or sympathetic nervous system that gives you energy, gives you drive, but also can make you feel quite anxious. And the other branch of the nervous system is the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the calming and deactivating nervous system that allows you to go into a more restful state. And breath work activates the parasympathetic or the calming branch of the nervous system. And it is practical and easy to do, and literally can take a couple of minutes. So I asked Johan to do what's called box breathing, in the morning for 2 minutes and in the evening for 2 minutes. And how it works is that you breathe in for 4 slow counts. You then hold your breath for 4 counts. You breathe out for 4 slow counts. You hold your breath again for 4 slow counts, and then you breathe in again. And so it forms like a box. Breathe in for 4, hold your breath, breathe out for 4, hold your breath, and so you repeat. And Johan was extremely keen to try this strategy because it was something that he could physically do. And the final strategy that we decided to implement was exercise. Now, Johan was working as a sports coach, So he was quite active in his normal day-to-day job, but he didn't take any time to do his own exercise, planned physical training. And so I encouraged him at least twice a week to do 15 minutes of high intensity interval training so that he could actually break a sweat, evacuate the stress, and take that time just for himself. Exercise, especially at high intensity, has got the power to release endorphins, the happiness chemicals that make us feel euphoric and give us energy. And by doing physical activity on a regular basis, you tend to have more and more of those positive circulating chemicals. Exercise also has the benefit of exhausting the body, which improves sleep quality. And so for Johan, it was really powerful and important for him to do that bit of physical training so that he could take the time for himself, evacuate some of the stresses that he was experiencing, activate the endorphins, and improve his sleep quality. Now, all of these interventions, practicing positive psychology, introducing good mood foods, practicing sleep hygiene, improving his routine, implementing breath work, and including physical exercise, helped Johan to take control of his anxiety symptoms. It took some time, plus or minus 3.5, 4 months, before we could see a marked improvement in how he was feeling. But this case shows that it is possible to gain control over anxiety symptoms, including insomnia, post-traumatic stress, even depressive symptoms, through lifestyle intervention alone. Now, I am a proponent of classical psychology, but in Johan's case, classical psychology wasn't working. It wasn't serving the purpose for him. He was reliving the negative experiences that he'd had in the past with each session when he went to visit the psychologist. And it was actually making him feel worse. So after we implemented practical lifestyle strategies that help to improve the neurotransmitters in the brain from the inside, he said to me that this was a far more effective and powerful strategy for him. He said he may go back to see his psychologist in the future when he was ready perhaps to work through some of those experiences. But for now, he was so happy and so grateful to be feeling happy and energized, to enjoy clarity of thought and to be able to make decisions in his day, that he felt okay not to go the traditional psychology route for the time being. And I think this is a really powerful illustration of how lifestyle change in the practical sense can make a big difference to how somebody feels and how they function in their normal day-to-day life.